I was a child of a very rich family. I lacked nothing, but inside me there was a lack of humanity. For my own satisfaction, I kept my friends coming to eat, and I used to think that by feeding them I had done them a great favor. Then, of course, they would be ashamed, and I was proud of it. I felt that they were living in my mercy. Then my heart would be very satisfied. It cost me a lot of money to feed them, but arranging for people to bow their heads in front of me seemed to be a habit for me. This job of mine was so bad, but my false ego forced me to do all this. I had a friend named Afzal. He was the son of a poor family. He was very self-respecting, but I did not like that. One day I invited him to my house to eat. After feeding Afzal, I talked to him in front of everyone. The words were such that even my friends listened to me and understood Afzal's economic condition. Afzal was very upset with my words. I thought, from today Afzal will make me feel like a lord. But I was shocked at what happened next day. We had a party at home where the police were supposed to come along with many dignitaries. Afzal must have bowed his head when he saw them, and it would have increased my dignity. Then I called Afzal. I thought he would come fast. My other friends were like that, but Afzal did not come. He did not even pick up my phone. So I sent our driver to Afzal's house. My driver Din Muhammad went to the house of Afzal. He came and said that Afzal would not come. This was the first time I saw a boy who had no interest in my possessions. How is that possible? An ordinary boy like Afzal was avoiding me. Till today there is no one whom I have not forced to bow his head before me. The next day I went to Afzal's house. Afzal was at home. I said to him, "Dude, what happened? Won't you tell me to come in?" Then he took me inside his room. I saw that he lived in a very ordinary room. Afzal's condition is deplorable. He lived in a house of only 8 to 10 feet. I asked him, "What happened to Afzal? You looked so sick." Then he said to me, "Tell me what to do. My condition is so miserable that I can't arrange any food." Then I said, "Afzal, when I'm here, no worries." I proudly told him this. Then he said, "You are right, but you are only here to make fun of the poor like us and to show arrogance." Then I said to him in a soft tone, "Afzal, don't say that. If you don't mind, I'm giving you a job." Then he said, "Well, that's fine. If you let me eat instead of work, that's fine. I'm not like those who are the rich." Then I said to myself, once you join under me, then I will see where your self-esteem is. You will follow my words in the same way as my other friends. I knew Afzal could not live without food. What will he do? Only with respect. Thinking about all this, I came home. The next day I was waiting for Afzal with a lot of interest, but he did not come. I believed he would come to me in 2 days, but a week passed like this. Yet Afzal had not come, so I was forced to call him. I asked him, "Afzal, I offered you a job. Don't you need a job right now?" Then he said happily, "No man, I don't need your job. I only needed 2 meals a day. Thank God my food is arranged." I asked him, "How do you arrange your food?" Afzal then said, "There is a dhaba for the poor like us, where we get free food. Now I eat from there. It's a little far from our house. Hey, you know about open slums? There are no houses there, only plants. The road is also very inaccessible. A kind man has opened a dhaba for the poor people here. I get food from here. That's why I don't have any tension now." I was very angry inside. I thought I will go to that dhaba and I will go and forbid the owner of the dhaba so that he does not give food to Afzal. Anyway, the next day I was going to work, so on the way the slum came. Afzal told me about a slum here. I looked around, but there was no dhaba. I thought maybe Afzal lied. He may be working under someone. When I went home, I called Afzal and said, "Dude, I thought I would go to that dhaba with you today and have a meal. I am also planning to have a meal for people like you." Afzal said without thinking, "All right, you can go with me. But only poor are allowed to go there. People like you can't go there." But I did not listen to him. I told him, "Tomorrow I will go with you to that dhaba." The next day, I reached Afzal's house. There was an annoyance on his face. He got into my car without saying anything. As soon as we reached the slum, we saw people standing in line for a long distance. A girl was giving bread and pudding to people. The second girl was also giving bread. Now I want to get more. One of my bad behaviors was teasing girls, and this opportunity came to me. We got out of the car and stood at the door. There was a guard at the door. The guard recognized Afzal, and he looked at me strangely and said, "Sir, you are not entitled to this food." I was very angry to hear him, so I said, "If I eat a little food from here, all the poor people won't die without eating." Then the guard said, "If you eat this food, it will not be digested in your stomach." I started laughing out loud when I heard that old guard. I said to him, "Now will you tell me which food will be digested in my stomach and which food will not be digested?" After telling him this, I pushed him inside. Afzal forbade me to do that, but I was already very angry and arrogant. Then I went straight to the girl who was feeding everyone. The girl was really extraordinarily beautiful. Seeing her beauty, it seemed that if I did not find her, my life would have no meaning. The girl looked at me with one glance and was giving food on the plate. She pointed to Afzal and said to the other girl, "Go, bring food to our special guest." I was very angry to hear Afzal as a special guest from the girl's mouth. I said to the girl, "Well, if he is a special guest, then who am I?" The girl looked at me with disgust and said, "You get out of here. If you eat this food, it won't be digested." Then I told her, "If you give food with your own hands, the poison will also be digested." I said this to impress the girl, but it did not work. She called the second girl to her, and then the girl handed the food on my plate and said, "Okay, eat for today, but you will not be able to come here again." Looking at the girl, I said to myself, "I have achieved what I wanted so far, and you are one of them, the one I want." Maybe I did not eat, but I insisted on eating. Afzal was looking at me repeatedly. It seemed like he wanted to tell me something. After eating, Afzal and I returned home. I fell asleep very soon after coming home. My stomach ached at night and I woke up. I realized my stomach was aching very much. It was aching so much that I could not sleep, and over time that it was likely to increase. Gradually it became morning. I continued to drink glass after glass of water, but it did not work. I went to the doctor and I said everything openly. He told me, "You have food poisoning." The doctor prescribed me medicine. Now I was very angry with that girl because she fed me dirty food. I came home and decided to send the girl to jail, and I tell the police there is a dhaba in the open area. They feed people dirty food. When I came home, I took medicine. Then I called Inspector Ghulam. He did what I told him to do. I told him to arrest the girl. It was about 10 in the morning. My stomach started to ache a lot. I went to the bathroom, then I started to feel nauseous. I became very upset. A little later, the inspector's call came. He told me, "There is no dhaba here." His words surprised me. I thought Afzal might have done these things because he was the special guest of that girl. So there must have been some talk between these two. I told the inspector to arrest Afzal. Inspector arrested Afzal, but no information found from him. When I asked the people around, they said they had never been here. Rather, they don't know such a girl. The police inspector was also surprised. But my condition was not good, and so I did not pay much attention to this issue of the girl. Day by day, my body condition was getting worse. Even the doctor gave up hope. My grandmother came to see me. She lived in another city. I kept repenting to God for my mistakes. When grandma came, the first thing that fell on me was the Darud. Then she started praying and chanting. She stopped reciting, then her eyes turned red with anger. She came to me and said, "Why are you running after false arrogance? In this world only the command of Allah prevails. And do you consider yourself greater than Allah?" Then I said, "What does that mean, Grandma? I don't understand anything." Grandma got angry and said, "Do you know where you went?" The dhaba you went to was of a different creature. My condition was very bad. I clasped my hands to Grandma and said, Grandma, pray to God for me. May God forgive me. Then Grandma was upset and said, Son, ask God for forgiveness. After that, I started praying and reciting Zikr. Gradually, my condition began to improve. In a few months, my condition improved. But after 6 months in bed, I realized that people should never be arrogant.